Every week, every single week, there's a new AI headline. OpenAI launches GPT 5 point something. Anthropic is worth how much? Google's Gemini is now it's in what? And if you've ever felt like everyone else gets it and you're just nodding along pretending to know what Anthropic is, it's not you. Hey, I'm Maggie, and today we're doing something I've wanted to do for a while. I'm going to show you the entire AI landscape in 2026. Who's actually making this stuff, how the pieces fit together, and how to stop feeling behind every time a new headline drops. By the end of this video, you'll have a mental map you can use forever. Every AI news story is going to make more sense. I promise. Okay, here's the one big idea that makes everything else click. The AI world isn't one thing. It's two layers. Layer 1, the brain makers. These are the labs that actually build the AI. They're the ones training the giant models. And here's the wild part. There are really only about 6 of them that matter. Layer 2, the apps. This is where you actually live. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Cursor, Notion, the weird internal chatbot at your job that nobody really understands, but IT keeps telling you to use. There are thousands of apps in this layer, but here's the secret nobody tells beginners. Most of those apps aren't actually making their own AI. They're just renting a brain from one of the 6 labs upstairs. So when you see a new AI app launch, the question isn't how smart is it? The question is, whose brain is it using? Brain makers. There are 6 brain makers I want you to know about, but 3 of them matter way more than the rest. Either because you already use them every day, or because they're secretly running the world and you don't know it yet. We're going to spend real time on these 3. Then we'll do a lightning round for the other 3. Definitely no. OpenAI, the one that started it all. Here's the origin story. In 2015, a group of researchers and tech billionaires started a nonprofit research lab. Their stated goal was basically, let's make sure AI goes well for humanity. Cute, right? Then in November 2022, they released something called ChatGPT, and the world kind of broke. ChatGPT hit 100 million users in 2 months. That's faster than TikTok, faster than Instagram, faster than anything in the history of consumer software. And today, in 2026, roughly 900 million people use ChatGPT every single week. That's about 1 in every 10 humans on Earth. So when I say OpenAI is the one that started the AI craze, I don't just mean the technology, I mean the whole cultural moment. If AI is one thing to you, it's probably this one. Their current flagship model is called GPT 5.4. You use it whenever you open ChatGPT. That's the whole story. Quick thing to burn into your brain before we move on. ChatGPT is the app. GPT is the brain. Same company to that. It matters. Okay. Number 2. This is the one where you're going to say, wait, what? At least once. Ready? Anthropic. Have you heard of Anthropic? Be honest, most people haven't, and that's the first surprise. Because Anthropic is worth $380 billion. That makes them the 3rd most valuable private company on the entire planet, behind only OpenAI and SpaceX. I didn't know until I started researching this video. That's how weird the AI landscape is right now. The 3rd most valuable private company on Earth is a lab most people have never heard of. Okay, so what's their deal? Here's the origin story, because this one's good. Back in 2021, a group of senior researchers at OpenAI got worried. Not about whether AI would work, but about whether it was being built carefully enough. So they left. They walked out the door and started their own lab. That lab is Anthropic, and their whole pitch to the world is, we are the careful ones. Now, I want to be honest with you. Every AI lab says they care about safety. Whether Anthropic actually is the safest is a debate I'm not going to settle in this video. But this is how they market themselves, and this is the reputation they've built. They make an AI called Claude. And here's the weird thing about Claude. Claude has maybe 5% of ChatGPT's users, but it generates almost half of OpenAI's revenue, because Claude's bet was different. They didn't chase the consumer market. They went after developers, writers, and businesses. 8 of the top 10 Fortune 500 companies use Claude every single day. People who write code for a living swear by it. Oh, and here's a tiny detail that tells you everything about the culture. Just this month, April 2026, Anthropic announced a new model called Mythos. It's apparently really, really good at finding security holes in software. Like thousands of previously unknown vulnerabilities across major systems. And then they didn't release it. Yeah, that's the Anthropic culture. Number 3, Google. Okay, Google's story is my favorite one in the whole video, because it's kind of wild. Here's something I bet you don't know. Google invented the kind of AI that powers ChatGPT. Like, literally. In 2017, 8 researchers at Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need. And that paper introduced something called the transformer. You don't need to know what that means technically. You just need to know that the transformer is the foundation of every modern AI, ChatGPT, built on a transformer. Claude? Transformer, Gemini, Transformer, Llama, Grok, Qwen, all of them. Google invented the thing that made all of this possible. And then all 8 of them left Google. They left to start their own companies or join competitors or found new labs. The people who invented the future of AI walked out the door of the company that paid for the research. It's one of the strangest stories in tech. And for a minute there, Google looked like they'd been caught flat-footed. OpenAI took the transformer and turned it into ChatGPT, and suddenly everyone was talking about OpenAI and nobody was talking about Google. But here's the thing about Google. They've quietly been doing something clever. Their AI is called Gemini, and they're not trying to beat ChatGPT in the consumer race. They're doing something sneakier. They're just putting Gemini everywhere you already are. Google search? There's Gemini answering your questions at the top. Gmail? Gemini's in there helping you write emails, Google Docs, Google Drive, your Android phone, all Gemini. You might be using Google's AI 20. Google didn't lose the race, they just decided to run a different one. All right, those are the big 3 round. 3 more labs you should know. Faster. Let's go. Meta, that's Facebook's parent company. You already know them. Meta makes an AI called Llama. And Llama is special because it's free. And I don't mean free tier with limits. I mean, anyone in the world can go to a website, download Llama, and run it on their own computer. For free. Forever. No permission, no login, no subscription. This is what people mean when they say open source AI. The idea is that instead of keeping the AI locked inside your company, you give the recipe away and let the world use it. Meta is the biggest Western lab doing this. And yeah, you need a pretty beefy computer to actually run it. But the point is, it's yours. Nobody can take it away from you. If you're a developer, a researcher, or just a nerd who wants to tinker, this is a big deal. If you're a normal person, AI, that's the assistant inside WhatsApp, Messenger, and Instagram. xAI. This is Elon Musk's AI company. He started it in 2023, and their AI is called Grok. If you're on X, formerly Twitter, you've probably seen the Grok button. Grok has one thing going for it that none of the other big AIs have: real-time access to every public post on X. So if something's happening on the internet right now, Grok can read it and tell you about it in near real time. That's genuinely unique. If you want to know what people are saying about a news story that broke 20 minutes ago, Grok is better at that than ChatGPT or Claude. It's also tuned to be a little less filtered than the other AIs. More attitude, fewer that responses. Whether that's good or bad depends on who you ask. Last one, Alibaba. If you haven't been following AI closely, this is probably the name that surprises you most. Alibaba is a massive Chinese tech company. Think Amazon plus PayPal plus a lot more. And they make an AI called Qwen. Now here's the plot twist. Remember how I said Meta is the biggest Western lab giving their AI away for free? Qwen is the biggest lab in the world doing it, bigger than Meta. Qwen has been downloaded over 600 million times. Developers around the world have built more than 100,000 custom versions on top of it. It supports over 200 languages, and it's neck and neck with the American labs on raw capability. So if you thought the AI race was an American-only story, the world right now is Chinese. And a lot of people in Silicon Valley did not see that one coming. Okay, that's layer 1. Those are your 6 brain makers. You now know more about who's making AI than 90% of the people on the internet who talk about AI for a living. Seriously. Now let's talk about layer 2. The apps layer. This is where it gets really interesting, and really freeing. Remember what I said at the beginning? Most AI apps aren't making their own AI. They're paying to use someone else's. Let me give you some real examples. Perplexity. It's an AI search engine. Feels like magic. What's under the hood? A mix of GPT and Claude, depending on the query. Cursor, the coding tool every developer is obsessed with. Under the hood? Mostly Claude and GPT. Notion AI. That little help me write button inside Notion? That's Claude. Character.ai. Those chatbots that pretend to be your favorite fictional character? They use a mix of models. And here's the big one. Your company's internal AI chatbot. You know, the one that your IT team rolled out with a cute name like AskBot or Helper AI or something? I'll be honest, when I first learned this, it kind of blew my mind. That fancy internal tool at work? It's almost certainly just Claude or GPT in a trench coat. Same brain, different wrapper. So what does this mean for you? It means when you see a new AI app launch, and you will like every week, the smart question isn't, is this amazing new technology? The smart question is, whose brain is it using? 9 times out of 10, it's one of the 6 labs we just talked about. The app is just a nice interface, some clever prompts, and maybe some specialized data. Which is not a bad thing. That's actually how innovation works. You don't need to invent electricity to open a bakery. But knowing this changes how you read every AI headline. A new AI writing app? Probably Claude under the hood. A new AI chatbot for customer service? Probably GPT. A new AI coding tool? Probably Claude, maybe 6 brains. That's the whole structure of the industry. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right, you now officially know the map. Top layer, bottom layer, who's who. The question is, what do you do with it? I've got 3 things for you. 3 tiny habits that'll make the rest of your AI life easier. Ready? Tip number 1. Next time you see an AI headline, ask yourself the question I keep repeating. Is this a brain maker launching a new model? Or is this a new app that wraps an existing brain? OpenAI launches GPT 5.5. That's a brain maker. Big deal, new foundation. New AI app helps you plan your vacation. That's an app. Probably wrapping GPT or Claude. Cool, maybe useful, but it's not a landscape shift. This one habit will save you so much confusion, I promise. Tip number 2. Don't try to learn all of them. Pick one and actually use it for a week. If you're curious and want the most popular option, ChatGPT. It's where most people start. If you already live in Google stuff, Gmail, Docs, Search, Gemini is probably already on your phone. Start there. If you write for a living, or you code, or you're working on something creative, Clady. It's what a lot of professional writers and developers swear by. The map is just theory until you're using one. Pick one. Use it for a week. Then pick another if you're curious. Tip number 3, and this one's important. Ignore 90% of AI news. I know, I make videos about AI news. I'm telling you to ignore most of them. Here's why. Every single week, there's a new model with a bigger version number. GPT 5.4, Claude Opus 4.6, Gemini 3.1 Pro. The numbers go up. That's about it. Most of those releases don't change the map. They move the map slightly forward. You don't need to track every move. You just need to remember the structure. The 2 layers, the 6 labs, how they fit together. If a headline is about the structure changing, a new lab enters the top 6, or the whole industry pivots, pay attention. Those are rare. Maybe once a year. Everything else? Scroll past. Oh. And put a full comparison table in the description. You can screenshot it, save it, stick it on your fridge. Whatever helps. So, to recap, the AI world has 2 layers, the brain makers on top, about 6 labs that matter, with OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google in the big 3, and the apps on the bottom. Thousands of them, mostly renting brains from the labs above. Next time you read an AI headline, ask whose brain is being used. Pick one AI and actually use it. And don't try to keep up with every release. That's the landscape. That's the map. That's how AI actually works in 2026. If this helped, hit like. It really does help the video get in front of more beginners who need the map. And if you want more explainers like this one, subscribe. I'm doing one a week, next week. I'm going to tackle what is an AI agent and why is everyone freaking out about them? That's the other question I keep getting. So if you want the answer, you know what to do.